wanted to say just one word on this question from the first exam, and we may see it again on exams 2, 3, and or 4, and we may see it on the final, so I think it's worth pointing a couple things out. I already pointed out in class and in the answer key, this first one, I wanted to see that model. Most of you guys were all over B and C. Panel A, we see a steeper decline than panel B. And then as far as why some countries saw a steeper decline than others, you pointed out quite correctly could be cultural. We noticed that a lot of the countries here are former British colonies or Great Britain itself, and maybe there's something cultural. Maybe there's something cultural that can explain that, but it may be the generosity or lack of generosity about payments to the unemployed, whatever. And you guys were all over that for the most part. But nobody talked about what I think are two of the most obvious explanations for D. I didn't take points off, but still I thought it'd be worth mentioning. Why do you think that the decline in working hours is faster in most countries in the first half of the century? And there's two explanations that I would look for. One I gave you in the answer key, and that is simply that early on people are working a lot of hours, and that when you're working a lot of hours, your first hours of free time are really highly prized. But by the time you've stopped working so many hours and you're working many fewer hours, your free time isn't as valuable. There's diminishing marginal rate of substitution again, and you might be willing to argue for more income instead of more free time when you're negotiating with your bosses. So that would be the diminishing marginal rate of substitution argument in my answer key, the written answer key posted on Moodle. But another explanation is that it could be that it was in the 1900s that workers saw a big increase in their bargaining power, and that they used it to get the free time, and that they didn't see as big of an increase in their bargaining power in these later years in the century. And that we don't really know which explanation is true, or maybe they're both true, but that would have been a good thing to suggest. And finally, which country saw an increase in working hours in recent times? We see there was one country here that saw, and some of you pointed out that it looks like the U.S. saw. And why? Well, it could be changes in social policy. It could be changes in the wage stagnation was a good thought somebody had, that maybe people have to work more hours to attain the level of living they're interested in. Those are all good reasons, and generally you guys did a good job on that. But D was the part where I thought people's explanations could have been a lot better.